right, here we are. Another week. Yeah, it's August 13th already. And the month's almost half gone. Anyway, glad to see everybody here. So let's start with, here's Jim. Let's start with the hellos. Alright, who got the Thursday cookie? Let's see, why is this thing advancing? It's not supposed to do that. Hey, damn it. I got to reset that now. John Nippenberg got the cookie. Congrats, John. Enjoy that cookie. Chuck Schreiber got the half cookie. Good to see you, Chuck. Tom Grassi got crumbs. And, oh, damn it, I jumped ahead again. That's something new. I'll explain that in a bit. Chuck says, look at John K. jumping away at that Thursday cookie. Anyway, good to see you here, Tom. John Nippenberg, good to see you. I think I already said that. Oh, damn it. This is going to make it difficult to say hello to everybody who keeps jumping around. Where were we? Derek Alexander. Hey, Derek, good to see you. No, you're not first. Nice try, though. Joe Rader, Black Rock Central. How you doing? Good to see you here. Chuck Schreiber, good to see you. Schuylkill River Valley, John. Happy birthday, John. Good to see you here. Let's see, I already said hi to Derek. Chuck Schreiber, hey Chuck. This is difficult because it's jumping around like crazy. Russ is rocking old trains and stuff. Hey Russ, good to see you. Happy after birthday. I did wish you your birthday yesterday. I'm wishing it to you again. Who else we got here? James, Dundas Junction Model Railroad. Hey James, good to see you here. I think that's everybody, but I'm not sure. Oh, no. Curly Express. Hey Dwight, good to see you. Hot Dog Pilot Andy. Hey Andy, good to see you. I think that might be everybody now. Oh, let's see. We're almost down to the bottom. Wigwag Workshop. Hey, Stephen. Good to see you here, man. How you doing? Okay, I think that's everybody. If I missed anybody, it's because the stupid chat is jumping around. The reason I had to restart my stream after I get it all set up, I always check to make sure that everything's working properly. Well, I wasn't getting any overlays on the screen. It wasn't working. So I wound up having to update it. And of course, in order to make it all work, I had to shut everything down and start over again. There were other people. I think Thomas Spikeman, he was actually the first one in. And I don't remember who the second one is. And I think John Nippenberg got crumbs, I believe. But, you know, when that happens, I just have to start over again. And it's like, oh well. It is what it is, beyond my control. So now one of the unintended consequences is, it used to be where I could back up the chat and start from over and just slowly scroll down as I call off everybody's name and say hi. Now it just dives right to the bottom or the last one that comes in. I'm going to have to figure out what I did and try and fix that. Every time, I don't understand why things screw up. They're working fine. I don't do anything. And next time I turn on a machine, I have problems. Chad is twisting my thank you. That could well be. So is the show tonight train related or other? No, it is. Well, somewhat. Actually, mostly. I've got two videos to show you of my work on the back there on the tunnel and the lake area, which is actually Joe's Lake. And I'm going to show you a quick pic of what it looks like right now. A lot of it's mocked up, but eventually that's what it's going to look like with the finished product and then some. I still have a lot to do over there. Now here's what it looks like. I printed the fishing dock, boating dock combination. Don't worry, Andy, we'll get to Amazon in a bit. That's part of the rant. So that's, like I said, there's the side says Lake Joe. That's been there for a long time. I put down the fourth set of tracks. That's for the Sugar Shortline, and we got number 148, which is not technically finished yet, is sitting on there. The speedboat I printed the other day, and the two canoes I've had before with people rowing on them. And like I said, I've got to grass both sides of the lake. I've still got to pour the lake with the fake water. I've got picnic benches, barbecues, people. It's going to be a pretty busy scene when I get done. And if you'll see where the wood is there on the upper right, I've got to close that in with more foil, but I have to make a cardboard backing to support the foil. So I'll be working on that over the next couple of days, and then get that painted in. And so it's getting there. And of course, then there's also a road, an automobile bridge, where you can see where the road is up there in the upper right. It comes across. I've got to put that back in place. So there's a lot of stuff. Oh, thanks on the speedboat, Russ. No nude people on that beach. That's not the nude beach. Doodle Beach is the nude one. That's on the other end of the layout. Yes, I did get the speedboat, Derek. Let's see. A lot of tuna stuff going on there. Tuna can is Dwight. Tuna dog is Andy. Tuna head is Steven. And tuna salad is Mike. Okay. Big boobs on the boat. Maybe. We'll see. That speedboat looks a lot like a drug runner. No, it's not a cigarette boat, believe it or not. The cigarette boat would be much, much bigger. And I had a hard time finding that boat, a file for it. Because I just typed in speedboat. It's a twin engine job, but it's just slightly longer than the canoe, so it's not terribly big, where a drug boat or a cigarette boat, as they were, is usually about almost twice the size of one of those. No, not Perverted Lake. No, that's Joe Lake, or Lake Joe. I had a friend, his name was Joe, and I knew him back in Naples before he left the country. He's living in Mexico now, or not really well, it is Mexico, Baja. And he says, you should name a lake after me. I said, all right, I could do that. Anyway, but it's looking pretty good. Like I said, I'm going to tint the water to get it more murky looking. I hope it comes out the way I want it to. He thought it was a narco sub. I don't think so. Did I say hi? You know, I didn't say hi. It was Tom Grassi. I know Tom's in here. At least I think he is. I didn't see him, though. Maybe he's not in yet. Or maybe he's on the old one still. But I killed that one, so he'll come over. A U-boat. No, not a U-boat. It's actually a 4-seater. Or really a 5-seater. I can't zoom in on it here, but there's the driver's seat, the passenger seat, and a bench seat behind it, which will actually seat 3. There's Tom. All right, Tom. I'm glad you're here, man. Hey, Jim, are we going to get to see a water report? Yeah, I probably could do that, yeah. I kind of like the idea of, videotaping everything I'm doing now. I'm getting used to it, so it's almost second nature. I figure you guys probably want to see just what the hell I'm doing half the time. So, yes, I will videotape it. I was actually planning on doing it 2 days ago, but after literally, looking at things, no, it's not ready yet. I still got to put the grass down. I've got the this stuff here. Let me switch pictures here. I got the static grasser. This is 2mm. So I want to do both sides of the banks, you know, both sides of the lake in this stuff. So that's really going to be next to get that down. And then I'll start looking at, you know, because I want to have some grass in the water, not much, but just a little tiny bit of it along the edges of the lake. You call that the bank, right? So, you know, might even my wife thinks I should throw some rocks in there, but I don't know. No. Russ says, sorry, hi Thomas, sorry I missed your live. My son came over after work for my birthday. That's cool. Yeah, did you watch the replay? It was a good show. I watched the live. I came in late, but I did watch it. Now that's the only. Tom Kvichak's been on vacation up in Maryland. He's going to be gone for like 3 weeks. So that kind of gives me a chance to watch some of the other shows, you know, because usually I watch him, but because, you know, he does his show on Rumble. Nobody likes to go on Rumble and watch his show for some reason. I don't know. So now I have time to actually watch Tom Grassie's show. And I need to remember to see James's show, James and T.S. Mike, to see their show on Monday. I always forget. Russ, your son gave you a block of wood. Okay, why would he give you a block of wood? So anyway, so that's where we're at with the layout right now. I've got to do the trees yet. I printed up a bunch of trees there behind me on the bench. I don't know how much of that bench you can see. I did get the mat in the other day. I did a short on it, or a short video. It's stapled down now and permanent on the desk or bench work. And I rearranged the cabinets and all that, so it's coming along. I try to get to James' show or he'd break my legs. Oh, yeah, there you go. So, let me do the rant next. That rant's weird. Anyway, the rant for tonight is on Amazon. Now, last week, I think it was like Saturday night, this past Saturday, I went ahead and ordered more filament for, you know, my A1. And I buy filament in a 4-pack. It's $43. It's like $10 and change each roll. And they're refills, so I put them on my spools. So I went ahead and I ordered it, paid the money, done deal. They were supposed to overnight it to me. So I was supposed to get it Sunday, like 10 o'clock, I think they said, 10 p.m. That's fine. Bamboo Labs. You guys would make me laugh. It's kind of hard to tell it. So anyway, it didn't come. So I get another email from them saying, well, it's been delayed. So you'll get it Monday by 10 o'clock, 10 p.m. I said, all right, fine. So Monday comes, no fucking filament. So I get another email from saying, it'll be there Tuesday morning, 8 o'clock a.m. So I'm thinking, well, damn well better be, right? So it did. It showed up at like 10 after 8. And I was over here, you know, messing around. And I said, well, let me go over there and see if they came yet. So it did. And I go, well, something isn't right. This is what they sent me. Damn. I never even opened it. Does this look like a 4-pack of filament refills to you? It's a single roll. I said I didn't open it. I don't even know if it's the right color. I don't fucking care, because I paid $43 for 4 of these, not for 1. So I said, well, shit. So right away I get right on the computer and I got to return that, They don't have a phone number I can call them and bitch them out or find out what the fuck their problem is, you know. So everything you do is through their. No, it does not. It doesn't either, Russ. Like I said, if that's a 4-pack, you know, I don't even know what to say to that. But anyway, it's not. So, yes, I do have an A1, Russ. So I went ahead and I set up the return. And this thing's in the red again. I don't know if I'm slipping or not here, probably. Come on, get back in the green, damn it. I don't understand. I got good signal and everything else. I don't know why this thing's screwing up. Alright. Then the yellow, now it should go to green next. So, no, it went back to red. Fucking internet. It's probably Amazon messing with my signal, right? So I went ahead and I said, well, just go ahead. They want to know why you're returning. I said, well, I'm supposed to get a 4-pack. It says, 4 times, gray, 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 refillable rolls for, the 3D filament. That's not what I got. So, they said, well, what do you want to do? You want your money back? And I said, no, I don't want my money back. I want the damn 4-pack that I need. So I'm sending this back and you send me the 4-pack. I said, all right, no problem. So, and I'm still in the red. I don't know. I hope I'm getting through there all right. But I'm watching myself on my phone, but it looks like I'm doing okay. So maybe that's just full of shit. I don't know. Don't order a quad bike, you end up on a motorcycle. Possibly. Alright, buffering here a little bit, not bad. Alright, that's cool. Yeah, 4 mini rolls, right? Well, they're not mini rolls, like I said. That's 1 full roll. I don't know what the fuck they were thinking. Well, obviously they weren't. So today, they rewarded, so well, you're going to get it on the 13th. So I'm watching carefully because I'm thinking if they fuck me on this, I'm going to lose money because, I'm not paying $43 for a single roll. And if I return this, they may only give me back the $10 that a single roll is worth, I don't know. So anyway, the guy pulls up in the van and lo and behold got the box, which is right there. And that's a 4-pack because that's how they come. There's 4 rolls in that box. This is like the 5th or 6th time I've ordered them. And this is the first time I've had a problem. So at least they got it right. But I'm going, well, I don't know what the hell's going on with these people. How could you screw that up? Well, maybe that may be it, Joe. I don't know. It makes you wonder. Now, the guy who delivered it in an actual van was a white guy. He spoke good English and all. He's definitely white. So, because I said, well, at least you got the right one this time. And he said, what do you mean? I said, well, this is a 4-pack. I said, this is the second order. I got to send back the first one that they sent me a few days ago. It's a single roll in a bag. And he goes, well, that figures. So, I don't know. I guess maybe he knew, Yeah, $10 for a roll, $33 for shipping. I don't think so, Chuck. Besides that, I got Prime, which I pay $15 a month for. I buy a lot of stuff from Amazon, so it works out. But, if I start slacking back on what I buy, I'll kill Prime again like I did last time, because you're spending more money than you'd spend in regular shipping. Too many illegals. Yeah, that's true. There really is. If you get lucky and call to return it, sometimes they do the refund and tell you don't know. I have to return this, unfortunately. But yeah, you're right. Sometimes they do. Usually on dumb shit, though, stuff that they just don't want to deal with. They'll probably want to throw it in the trash anyway. And that would have been cool if they'd have given me that 5th roll for free. They should. Because the problem is now I got to waste time and gas to go to the other end of Sebring, which is about 10 miles away. 10 or 12 miles. to the Winn-Dixie where the drop box is. It's the only one that's close to me, if you want to call that close. So, and once you show them a little barcode, not a barcode, but the other fucking square thing, I can't remember what it's called. They credit your account right then and there, and I'll get a full, well, I won't actually get a refund, but they won't charge me for this roll. So, I don't know what the fuck's going on. And now, the stuff here I ordered this the same time. They were supposed to come together. Alright? From Amazon. This was $12, by the way. Which I thought's a lot of money for static grass, but it is what it is. So, this was supposed to come, like I said, Sunday. Would have been overnight with the filament order. Well, for some reason, they couldn't get it here till the 11th. The 11th was 2 days ago. I got it yesterday. And they wound up sending this through USPS. It was supposed to come with the Amazon driver, and it didn't. I don't know why they changed it. I just know what the hell they're doing, man. They're idiots. I mean, I didn't need it that bad. It's not, I don't mind waiting a day or two for something. But that's not the point. If you tell me something, I kind of expect you to, follow through on it. Jim, I go online to the Amazon site to return any Amazon order. I got many places around me. 1 mile. Yeah, well, it must be nice. We can't do that. You can't use the post office here because they won't accept it. So they got the drop boxes. Like I said, the closest one is Winn-Dixie, which, like I said, is on the other side of town, which sucks. And you scan your it's a QR code. You scan the QR code. It prints out a little printout. You put this thing in a bag, a clear plastic bag. You put the sticker on it, throw it in the box, and you're done. And it records it and immediately refunds your money when the machine's working. And the reason I guess a lot of places don't have it, there were more that did have it, and they quit doing it because whoever's in charge, whoever's in the store, usually has a key to the box, and they're responsible for emptying the box. The box is not very big. I mean, the whole thing stands about 4 foot tall, but the actual part you put the goods in is probably only about 3 by 3. 3 foot by 3 foot. It fills up fast. Every time I go there, there's a line of people returning shit. And I've had a couple times where it was full, and we're sorry, we can't accept any more returns until the machine is empty. And so I, go to the service counter and say, well, you need to empty me. Oh, well, the lady with the key isn't here today. Why did she take the key with her? Why isn't it here so somebody else can empty the fucking machine? And then the woman who actually does do it, I got there one day and she was just emptying the machine. She was pissing and moaning the whole time. I don't know what I got to do. They'll get paid for this. I said, you're on the clock, aren't you? Well, yeah. I said, well, then you're getting paid for it. What the fuck are you whining about? She said, well, I don't know what your problem is. I said, my problem is people like you who complain about doing something, think you're not getting paid for it, but you're on the clock, you're getting paid, probably more than you're worth, and you got absolutely no reason or excuse to piss and moan about it. She didn't know what to say to that, so she just, I'll tell you what, I don't care, You piss me off, that's all there is to it. I don't give a fuck whether you like what I got to say or not, because I'm going to say it, And I hate when people piss and moan about this stuff. It's your fucking job. It's part of your responsibility. You're not doing it for free, you're getting paid. What the hell difference does it make whether you're stocking shelves or running the cash register or emptying the fucking return machine? You get the same money, I guess they think they're special and they should get extra for that. Well, I don't think so. Hey, there's Thomas. How you doing, Thomas? Sorry you missed out. You got fucked out of cookie because I had to restart the stream and everybody that was up front the first time got, they lost out. So sorry. I had a conversation with an illegal trying to deliver somebody else's stuff on my porch. I was out back and heard him yelling someone else's name. The guy was barely able to communicate with me. I'm not surprised. That was Russ saying that. So, and the mail's the same thing. When I got the regular mail at USPS, when I go out to get the box, the stuff, there's no packages. I'm waiting for packages. Who knows when I'll get them. They're not important anyway. So there's 2 flyers in there, and they're for women, mammogram for women, There's one for Deb, and I'm thinking, what the hell's the second one for? Me? Well, it wasn't, thank God, because I would have probably called them up and probably raised hell about it. It was for some other woman named Julia. She was obviously Spanish the way it was spelt. And it wasn't even our street or our address. I mean, it was like on the other side of town. I'm going, what the fuck? It's crazy. We don't have porch pirates here, Thomas, because if we did, I'd shoot them. In our area, there's no such thing. People know better because they know we're all armed. And they probably figure we'd shoot them. And I would. I don't give a fuck. You're stealing from me, I'll shoot you. So, man boobs, there you go. That's fucked up, though, That's what I really thought. Because I bet one of these is for me, but I'm not a woman. Joe says Thomas sent me a mini-me. Damn thing took 2 weeks to get here. I don't doubt it. So I'm saying the mail, and they're jacking the price up again on stamps. What the fuck are they doing? I get so disgusted with it, but anyway, that's it. Rant over. This stupid shit that goes on. Let's get back to trades. So, I'm going to run the first video. It's 5 minutes. It's a quickie. The second one's a little bit longer, but the first one goes right through, so. Joey's only got little legs. There you go. Alright, so this is not filling me with much faith in the U.S. Mail Service and Courier. Well, and you shouldn't have any because they're idiots, And the problem is like Tom Grassi said, they're mostly illegals, and even the legal ones don't speak good English. They can't read or write English. How in the hell can you deliver the mail if you can't read, write, and understand and speak English? So I don't know. Russ says, I have things that take 2 weeks from Cali to Cali border state. I believe it. I'm getting a brass Norfolk Southern brass reverser key for Christmas. That's cool. Tom says, my mail is getting here faster than before. I guess they got tired of me calling them all the time. Probably, well, you're like me, Tom. You don't give a fuck, man. You call them up, bitch them out. And the beauty of it is, you have mail delivery or package delivery experience. I don't. But you have that, and you probably make them look like the idiots they are, So maybe it's working. I don't know. Maybe if everybody started bitching, they'd get their shit together, I doubt it, though. Don't hold your breath. Anyway, here's the first video. Check it out. 5 minutes long. And it shows the work I'm doing on the, on something. Here we are again. Today's Sunday. I made this piece here. I gotta cover this yet, but this is gonna be mountain look like. I'm thinking I'm probably gonna use foil on it. I'm not sure yet. I gotta make one for that side. First I gotta measure everything. Guess it won't be easy. What do we got here? About 7 by 5. I already know the height. 7 by 5. Alright, hang on a minute. We got the new piece here. I better glue that back in there real quick, huh? Work. Be back again in a minute. See if this is gonna work. Hopefully it will. We gotta cut more. Perfect. About absolutely perfect, but damn close. Yeah, that'll work. I just gotta silicone that in. That'll work out just fine. Hey, what I do want to do, I want to trim some of that off. Go get my knife. That's much better. Alright. Here we are again. Today's Sunday. Oops. I had that on loop. Sorry about that. Hey, John Nivenberg. How you doing, John? Good to see you. Well, you're standing in the way. We can't see what you're doing. Well, I do my best to put the camera in a good place, but it doesn't always work out the way I'd like. But anyway, that's the first video. That was quick. The second one's, it's almost 30 minutes long, and there's a lot of fast forwarding through it, but I got a lot more done. So I think I'm gonna just go ahead and run that one now and get it out of the way. Then we go on to other things. So here we go with the second video. Hey everybody, it's Monday, and we're gonna do a little painting. I printed this fishing dock with a shack on it. It's going to be pretty cool once it's done, but I've got to paint it all up before I could assemble it. So we're going to start with the pilings and the whole bottom end here. We're going to do in brown. We got a brush right here. And this looks a little boring, doesn't it? Well, you gotta do it. The old saying goes, it won't paint itself. Unfortunately. No easy way to do this, unfortunately. I've got some Vallejo light gray, and this is a wash right here. We're going to try this out. I think this will work, but we'll see. Well, that looks good over there, doesn't it? Oh yeah, this will work. They said this is a wash. A little bit more in there. Yeah, that looks good. I like that. I think that'll work. Yeah, that's good. Alright, well, we got that done. And I've got some real light gray here. Wow. Brand new one here. There we go. we do the darker gray. On the building itself. We use the same brush. Let that sit for a minute and dry. I think it sucks about painting. You gotta wait for the paint to dry to be able to handle anything. This came out good. I like the way it came out. It's excellent. I'm going to shut the camera off till we're ready to start again. I'll be back in a second. Well, won't be a second, but you think it will be. Alright, well now I'm putting the windows in. And pretty much just a press fit. A very tight press fit. And then not easy to push in. And I did another roof. Maybe a little bit smaller this time. It might work, it might not. This seems like the one that originally done here, this one here, seems awful big. I'm not real thrilled with big roofs. So I shrunk it down just a tiny bit. Well, a few millimeters anyway. Now it might be too small, I don't know. But as soon as I get these windows put in, I'm going to go ahead and get it. And test fit it. Alright, we're getting them all in there. Got one more to go. I gotta put the door in too yet, but I might wait on that for a few minutes. Alright, all the windows are in. Set that back on top of that like so. Let me go get the roof and see if it's going to work. On a smaller roof. See if it's going to make a difference. No, it doesn't sit right. See, this one at least, it sits right, sorta, but it doesn't go down all the way. See where it's... I gotta make it shorter, I guess. Let me try something here. I'm going to stop the camera. I'll turn it back on once I get it figured out. Alright, I'm back again. We're still waiting on a third roof to get finished printing, but I decided to put some tint in the windows. All I did was cut a couple of strips. We'll get some super glue in there. I don't need a whole lot, just enough to get the sheets to stick. I'll just slide that right in there. Get it positioned properly. And there you go. It's in there. All we got left to do now is the front window. I'll have to cut a new piece for that. And that'll do it, just a little tiny piece. I'll let this set a little bit and dry before I turn it over. I'm going to turn the camera off again, and next time I turn it back on, the roof should be ready to put on, and we'll see if it works. Okay, well, I did figure it out. I had to do a little grinding in there, but that's alright, because now it drops all the way down in there, which is what it's supposed to do in the first damn place. So we're good to go. All the way down. Very good. Of course, it did knock off the plastic over here. I'm going to have to re-glue that. That's no problem though. I don't think I super glued that to begin with, which was my mistake. Alright. There we go. Now, should I paint this first or should I glue it down? I'm going to glue it down. There we go. Then we're going to go ahead and paint it too. I found this here, it's some neutral gray. It's not a wash, but it might work pretty good. We'll see. Well, it looks like a wash though. Yeah, that's pretty good actually. That worked. It doesn't say it's a wash, but it sure does look like one. So anyway, that works. I think that's, I don't know, this is a little lighter, but I like that better actually. Looks almost a little weathered too, which is good. You can't see it in the camera all that well, but we may weather this up a little bit anyway before all said and done. We'll see. I guess we can dump this. This one here probably would have worked if I had trimmed it. But I didn't, so. But I did that one, it's good. That don't look too bad. I've got some details I gotta do. I'm not ready to glue that down yet, but I will soon. I've got the pilings painted brown. I've got the wash on the deck. It looks good. The building's basically finished. So I just got a few extras here. I've got a couple of life preservers. I can glue them together and paint them up. There's one here. There we go. I think I want to paint those white when I get done. I was going to do them in orange, but I think the orange, I don't know, we'll see. I don't know what these other things are. This is a barrel of some sort. A triangle, I don't know what the hell that's for. And then these two things here. I don't believe they go together, although they might. And you've got this one here and a small one. I don't know exactly what to do with those, but actually you got an even smaller one here. Two of them. I don't know what they're for. And the picture I have, it doesn't show them. The only thing the picture shows is the two life preservers, if that's what they are. This round bucket thing and the triangle. Doesn't show anything else. So I don't know what the hell's going on there. I may have to make a couple of short ladders to put on the side too, because even though I cut this down, the pilings, so that would be level with the ground, it's still about maybe an eighth of an inch too high, because I'm going to have canoes down there. Or maybe I'll even do a speedboat. I don't know. We'll see. There's all kinds of possibilities. Maybe a speedboat would be nice there. Maybe two of them. I'll have to see if I can find some of those and print them up. Alright, I'm going to cut the camera off again and I'll be back in a bit. Today is Tuesday. And I'm still not getting everything glued up here for some reason. Not supposed to be black. I'm sure the picture will come back up though. The old rattle can, my favorite, absolutely. Hey, what the fuck? A weird shit going on here. Well, I have no idea where it is. I guess we'll have to glue it instead. It's weird. It's not where it's supposed to be. I'm gonna figure out what the hell happened to it. It's an electric staple gun. I don't know where it went. Huh. Go figure. Hey, that looks pretty good. Alright, well I'm going to take a brief break and then I'm going to foil the other side and I'm going to have to repaint the floor here, but that's no problem. And I'm probably going to have to do something about sealing things up for a while too. Put some silicone over here and that'll seal that up. Maybe some silicone down there too. Alright, I'll be back in a bit. Pretty good, huh? I'll let that dry and then I'll come back and I'll repaint this. And I gotta start putting things where they belong and then we can pour the water. I'm hoping I'll do water pour tomorrow. We'll see. Hey everybody, it's Monday. And we're gonna do a little painting. Alright, I had that one set on loop too. I'm really slipping here. Anyway, that's pretty much how far I got as far as what I videotaped. There'll be more for next week. Like I said, I want to put the grass down, pour the water, and then get the benches down, people, barbecue, boats in place. There's a lot of stuff to be done yet. And then of course, you know, that's going to almost finish that area up. I still got to put the roadway back and the road bridge back in. That's about it. And the background. I want to get the background done too, but once I get all that done, then that end will be officially finished. And of course, I got to tie in the track for the sugar line. But I think, you know, overall, like I said, this doesn't look bad at all. So, and I'm gonna see about weathering that girder for the track. I want to get it weathered. Maybe some of the pilings, weather those a little bit up too. I may have to do that before I pour the water. And like I said, I've got to put the foil on that upper right piece over there and get that sealed in. So, and then I'm going to have to put some silicone on the bottom of the inside of the lower mountain there, so that nothing seeps out from under it. We want to contain all the water, you know. So it's going to be a trick, but it'll look good when it's done. Hopefully. We'll have to wait and see how that goes. But that's where we're at. And I know some of you guys, James probably didn't say nothing about the doorway yet. I have to wait till next month before I can finish that, but I will, I promise. Hopefully. Of course, I don't have to really buy anything except for the tags for my car, which in theory should leave me about 100 left over for in here, and that should be more than enough to trim that out, so hopefully. I mean, I could have bought the trim wood probably, but then I would have had to sacrifice the filament, and I need to film it more than I need to finish that area, so that's kind of where we're at with it. Thanks, Derek. I appreciate that. He's hiding his bad habits. You spray paint the camera. No, I didn't. I don't get paint anywhere it's not supposed to be, as a rule. James will be very happy when you trim the door. I know he will. I'll be too, because it does look like shit, you know. I mean, I ain't gonna lie to you, it looks terrible. James, to start saving my 75th birthday is next year. Now, you're gonna have to save for your own birthday. Hell, I can barely afford to buy myself anything for my birthday. Oh, and anybody else. If I were rich, I'd do it, but I'm not, so, you know. I gotta start playing the lottery, though, because I tell you, I gotta get some money. It's really tough working on these limited budgets, you know. Well, at least I'm getting something done. That's the main thing, you know. So, progress is progress no matter how slow. But, you know, it's starting to come together. And like I said, it's been a real morale booster for me because, you know, I'm looking at it, I'm going, all right, I'm actually doing a fairly good job here, you know. And as I go, things will get better, I think. So, like I said, I'm going to take my time. And there's a lot to be done all around. The whole layout needs to be refurbed to some degree. So, and I always plan on doing that anyway. A lot of this stuff I threw in willy-nilly, and just to get it in there, And you can't afford the doorstop buying stuff. There you go. Well, not really. I mean, look, I'm not going to go spend crazy money every week. I buy a lottery. I buy one ticket. It's $2. It doesn't hurt me to throw away $2 every week. If I win, I win. If I don't, not a big deal. But you can't win it. You can't win if you don't play. So, And I've never been a big lottery player. I've played a few times in the past. The best I ever did was 4 out of 6 numbers before Powerball. I got 4 numbers right, and I got $67 on a $1 ticket, which, wasn't bad. Yeah, I know. Somebody won the $1 billion in Illinois. Must be nice. Now, what the fuck? He won't get that much. He'll get about a $500 million. About 500-600 million. But what the fuck are you even going to do with that money, I mean, that's probably the reason why I'll never get it, because, I don't need that much. I mean, I really don't, It would sit in the bank and make interest mostly because I'm not going to buy another house. I'm not going to buy a new car. I'll, get mine repainted and, get everything fixed in it that needs to be fixed, like air conditioning. So it'd be like new when I got done with it. But, what are we talking about? $10,000 put into it maybe, and it'll be just like new. Yeah. For an '04, it's got 95,000 miles on it. I haven't even hit 100,000 yet. So, I like my car. I'll probably get another truck, though, because the Ranger's getting pretty beat. And I'm still worried about the transmission in it. I wouldn't buy a new one. I would buy a used one because I don't want anything new, I might look at one. Well, I don't know. It depends. They supposedly got the $15,000 Chevy. I'm not a big fan of Chevy anyway, but it depends. If it don't have all the electronics in it, the spyware, I would buy it. But otherwise, no, I'd get an old one, I'll find an '08 or an '09 Ford Ranger. I like the Rangers. They're not too big, not too small. I don't need an F-150. It's hard for me to get in and out of the damn thing anyway. So, I mean, yeah, I'd spend some money out here. I imagine at some point I would buy a second building and have it attached to this one and, double my space. But, what are we looking at? Maybe 10 grand, 15 grand? Well, let's say 20,000 for another building and to outfit it, That ain't shit. Not when you got, tens of millions of dollars. I don't have any use for the money. I'd give my sister $1 million. I was going to give my brother $1 million, but he turns out to be an asshole. And he was bragging to me about how he's going to make a killing on some invention he's got going. I said, well, just remember your brother when you hit the big one. He said, well, I said, all right, that's fine. And we had a pact, me, my brother, and sister, whoever got rich first would share it with the other two. Apparently he's going back on that pact so he can go fuck himself. My sister, on the other hand, she would. If she hit $1 million before I did, she'd share it with me, and vice versa. I have to give the wife some money, but she just pissed it away anyway, but I'd still give it to her. And other than that, what do I do with the money? I'm not going to change my lifestyle, not really. It's still going to be me, and I'm still going to do the same things I always do. I could pay somebody to do repairs in the house, which would be nice, so I wouldn't have to fool with it. But we're not talking, realistically, $10,000, $20,000, I could probably have everything fixed in the house and have some money left over. So that still would leave me with millions of dollars left, wouldn't it? You won that Powerball, you could buy the local supermarket, but do a crazy. Well, yeah, but see, I don't want to do that because I have to get in the car and drive to it, and that's a pain in the ass because I spend a lot of time over here. I've got a big enough property. I've got a lot of land, behind me here, which is actually beside the house. I got 1.7 acres. There's a lot of empty land there. I'd have it cleared. There's some trees there, but I could technically put a steel building. Well, I don't think I'd go with a steel building, but I could put an actual, like a massive garage type building in there, But I don't know if I do it or not. It's hard telling, Like I said, I just don't put much emphasis on money. I really don't. As long as I got enough to do what I got to do and have a little bit left over, I'm fine, Because remember, with that kind of money, it brings problems too. First off, everybody and their fucking uncle is going to be trying to get it off you, Well, here, donate to me or fund my project. Fuck you, And that would pretty much be my answer to everybody who wanted money. Go away. Anybody that tried to forcibly take it would wind up meeting their maker briefly. So, like you said, I don't know if I even want that much hassle. I mean, I would try it because they say there's ways you can do it to remain anonymous. And that's the way I'd want to do it. I wouldn't want anybody to know I had that kind of money. Especially family members. I mean, I got cousins, uncles, aunts, nieces, nephews. They'd all be banging on, hey, Uncle Jim, can you spare a couple of million? Fuck you. Not that I'm greedy or anything, but, I mean, you reward those who were there for you when you were down. Now that you got the money, like you said, everybody comes out of the woodwork. Screw that. I wouldn't play that game. But still, I mean, it would be nice. Wouldn't it be cool, even if I won $1 million, after taxes. I'd put it in the bank, set up a bank account, draw interest every couple of months, and the interest on $1 million, I think it's $234,000 a year. That's a lot of damn money. I live real good on that and never have to touch the principal, So sure, I'd do it. Long lost relatives always show. Yeah, absolutely, man. What about the begging letters? Keep sending them, keep sending. Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. I really wouldn't want anybody to know I had any money, Hey, Floyd, how's it going, man? You missed all the good shit. You'll have to catch the replay, but we did a couple of somewhat short videos of me doing work in the train room. And I did a rant. But so where we go from here, I don't know. But now we're talking about winning the lottery. And I don't know. Like I said, I wouldn't mind, even if I didn't hit the big one. Even if I just got like say 100,000 or something like that. Right now, $100,000. I could pay off all my debts, which don't amount to shit. So I think I've got like 11,000 in debt, which is nothing. Pay that off, get the house repaired, get some stuff done here, get the car done, replace the truck, and I'd probably be about broke by then, but that'd be fine. I would get all that stuff taken care of. I think that'd be great. Of course, I gotta have to win almost $2 million because damn government takes half of it almost. That's bullshit too, They don't do nothing. They get to keep half your money. And that's after the state already takes half of what you won. It's like I said, that $1 billion, that guy's going to get about $600 million, which is nothing to sneeze at. But still, and that's supposed to go to the school system? Yeah, bullshit. if that were true, we shouldn't have to pay any property taxes, period. So they're lying about where that money's really going. Russ says, had to change laundry loads. Are we talking about our Powerball dreams? Yeah, kind of. I mean, the odds of hitting the Powerball are pretty high. But remember, there'll be lower winners in that $1 billion. So even if somebody got 6 numbers right, they're going to get several million. And even if you got only 5 out of 6 without the Powerball, you're probably still going to get several 100,000, maybe $1 million or 2. So, like I said, the more money there is, the bigger the payouts. So, I mean, there's a good probability you can win something. And yeah, I'm not really a gambler. I don't like gambling because I don't like losing money, So I would never go to a casino or anything like that because, well, I think they're rigged anyway, mostly. And, yeah, exactly, John. You don't play, you can't win. But that's why I say I won't do. We have casinos, we have one in Immokalee, which is about 90 miles from here. And I think you can get up to $1 million if you're lucky. But most people lose their asses. They'll go there with $200, $300, $400, $500, and they'll hit a couple of wins. They'll keep playing, and they'll walk out, broke. That doesn't do shit for anyone. See, I wouldn't do that. I would take my winnings, set that aside, and then play with the remainder of the money. And if I won, fine. If I didn't, no big deal. But I wouldn't take and try and roll that money over. That's greed, and try and make more on it. But that's what they count on you doing. And most people fall right in the trap, so, the house almost always wins, man. It's just the way it is. Yes, 100,000 would do me for a start. It would pay for what exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's not really a lot of money, but it is. I definitely wouldn't sneeze at it, but I don't know. Like I said, I've never been big at winning stuff. I mean, I've won things, small shit. I was in a bar one night, having a few drinks with friends, and they had this. I don't know what it was. It wasn't really a fashion show, but it was kind of a fashion show, And they did drawings, So you throw $1 and you get enter into the drawing, right? So I didn't give a shit, so I put my $1 in, and and what they were raffling off was a I guess it's called a swimwear cover-up. You throw it over your bikini. I don't know. So I was joking. I said, "You watch, I'll fucking win that." Well, damned if I didn't. So the woman brings it over. He says, "What are you going to do with it? Give it to your girlfriend?" I says, "Well, I'm in between, women right now, so I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I'm certainly not going to wear it, but I'll tuck it in the closet till I find somebody to give it to, But that's the way shit works, And they even door prize shit. When I was still painting contractor, I went to Flexbond, their factory. They were having like a little seminar. And, when you walked in, they gave you a ticket. And then they did a drawing on a ticket. And I said, "You watch, I'll win something stupid, I did. So, I don't know how it fit Derek. I didn't wear it. Tom says, "I worked at a casino, and people would always ask, what are the odds in the casino?" I told them the odds are the casino will win. That's true, man. Derek says, "Once it hits 500 million, there should be 5 winners, and $1 billion should be." I agree, Derek. I think it's ridiculous to throw that kind of money down, But and there are people that are assholes. The first time this was before Powerball, but this is like 20, 30 years ago. The highest we had, I think the Florida lottery was up to 250 million or something like that. It was the highest it ever been at that point. And I bought $5 worth, 5 tickets, you know. But I was standing in line. There were people spending $1,000, $500, you know. The guy in front of me spent $2,500 to buy lottery tickets, and I said, I hope you lose. Why would you say that? He says, because you're greedy. The fuck's wrong with you? You know. If you got $2,500 to throw in a lottery, you don't need the money. You know. And you know, and there were people I thought, well, I don't even play unless it hits over 100 million. You know. Why? So what? $1 million is not enough for you, or 6 million? I think was the average weekly draw was $6 million. You didn't get that much if you took the full payout, but it was close. So a lot of people wouldn't play because it was only 6 million. Like, what the fuck? You know. Well, that's all right. Better chance for me to win. I didn't, but you know. So did you cover up your bikini? No, I did not. High yield savings accounts pay around 4% APR. If I had $2 million, the interest would be about $80,000 a year. Now it's more than that, man, because I heard that if you put $1 million in the bank at today's interest, you'll get something like $234,000 a year in interest. That's a lot of money, remember? So you know, I don't know. It doesn't really matter, but still, it's still free money. You know, why would you not take that? And he said if it was a 40 double D, then to find a girl to match up. Yeah, no, it wasn't that big. It was like a fucking like a shawl almost. You know, the girl she's wearing her bikini. She's getting ready to go home, or before she goes to the beach, throws it on. It's called a cover up. I'd never heard of one before until that time, but it was worth about, I think, like $150. You know. And I said, but I just said, you watch, I'll win that fucking thing because I don't fucking need it, you know. You would have to have several accounts, though. No bank will insure you. Oh, that's true. What is 250,000? I think is all they cover. FDIC, I think. So yeah, you'd want to put it in 4 banks, but yeah, I have 2 banks now. Like I said, my regular bank's down in Naples. I like that bank. I've been with them for since 1980, I think, something like that. I think close to 40 years. And I just recently got a bank up here. It's another credit union, because I get paid cash from my tenant. She doesn't have checks. So she gives me cash every month, and I said, well, I'm not going to drive down to Naples to deposit cash in the bank, you know. If you give me a check, I could do the check on the phone, which I was doing with my mother-in-law because she paid me by check. So I said, I'm going to have to open up a bank account up here. So I did. My wife has a checking account at the credit union that I opened up one at. And so I've got some money in there. I got money down there, you know. Not a lot, but, you know, a little bit. Of course, you know, I'm saving money for property taxes. I don't know what they're going to be yet. I'm hoping they'll be cheap. But either way, yeah, John, it's $250, I think. It's on FDIC. And you'd be crazy to put, you know, $1 million in the bank if they won't cover it. You would probably want to put it in an offshore account if you run one really. That's true. I don't know anything about that, but that makes sense. Russ, I think you're talking about an IRA or a 401k, not high yield savings. I don't know. I'd have to look into it, like I said, you know. But you know, the thing is, my reasoning behind money is simple. When I was painting, yeah, I owned my own business. I worked for a lot of very rich people in Naples, you know. I was painting, you know, $1 million houses, $5 million houses. And every one of them got the nicest guys you ever want to meet. The women were bitches, really, but, you know. All right, John, have a good one, man. Thanks for popping in. We'll see you next week. Be safe. Have a good weekend. Have fun. Uh, Sounds like Benny Hill. Yeah, there you go. All these guys spent their entire lives amassing their fortunes. And a lot of them, they dropped dead right after they got it. They worked their ass off all their lives to make millions of dollars. Then when they retire so they can enjoy it, they fucking drop dead. And I say, I'm not going to be that guy, It doesn't make sense to do without, skimp and save, be a miser with every penny you have, the majority of your life, so that when you're ready to spend it, you drop dead. Fuck that. I ain't doing it. I mean, I've already generated, I know, well over $1 million in my life so far. But I don't have shit to show for it, not really, because my theory was I'm going to enjoy it now while I'm alive. No. John says our farm property tax is $100 more than half of my condo tax. Not surprising. Americans get taxed too hard. That's true. We really do. That's the government. They steal our money. It's organized theft. It's legal. It ain't right. When they were bitching about, it was probably about 20 years ago, there was a big movement trying to get rid of income tax. Now, on the books, at least the way I read it anyway, you're only supposed to get taxed on gifts. The income tax was kind of a misnomer. You weren't supposed to be taxed on your labor. If you won money or got free money somewhere, that's what you got taxed on. The problem is, they said, well, you got money, we're taxing all of it. And that's what they did. So they don't care whether you won it, you found it, you worked for it, whatever, they're going to tax it. And tax was supposed to be temporary anyway. It was instituted in World War II to help pay for the war. It was supposed to be temporary. When the war ended, so was the income tax. It never did because, we're getting all this free money. Why would we stop doing that now, It's all bullshit. How do you know when well, you don't. That's the problem. So, why would you spend your life amassing a fortune, and then, like I said, it seemed like it was common. People would drop dead right when about the time that they'd relax. Okay, now I can spend all my money, And they die before they can do it. So I looked at that and I said, no, I'm not going that route. I'm going to enjoy myself now while I can. And who wants to do shit when you're old anyway? I never traveled around the world. I never really wanted to, but I wanted to see some of the United States, and I did when I was younger. I had the money, I had the youth, It was fun. I wouldn't want to do it at 70 or 80 years old. Because you can't really enjoy shit at that age. I don't think, anyway. Tom says the only problem with offshore accounts is very hard to get the money back into the States without paying taxes. That's true. You're limited to $10,000 per entry without claiming the money. That would take forever. Oh, that's right, because you told us that story not that long ago on how you were retrieving your money from the UK. They fuck you no matter what you do. I mean, the only real way to protect your money is to keep it in cash, but that's kind of dangerous and doesn't, in today's society, it's hard to do because nobody wants to take cash anymore. And that's probably why, because it's easy to keep cash off the books. Russ says they work so hard so they can give it to their kids so their kids can blow it on frivolous stuff. That's true, man. And that was another thing, too. It's like my kids can make their own damn money, And I used to tell my dad, because he's, when I die, you're gonna get some decent money. Dad, I don't care about the money, Enjoy yourself now. It's your money. You worked for it. Spend it. You know, that's the fruit of your labor. I'll be fine. You know. And he could never understand. And my sister and brother were the same way. You know, like, Dad, we don't want the money. We don't care. You know. When he did die, we each got $13,000 each, which wasn't a lot, but you know, we would have gotten a lot more. But you know, I was taking care of him for a couple of years because of his Alzheimer's and shit, and you know, I used a lot of his money to take care of him. You know, and you know, but I didn't care about an inheritance. It didn't make a difference to me. You know, like I said, every couple of months he'd go to the garage sales and buy a fucking used piece of shit TV. You know, it'd last him a couple of weeks. He'd probably give 25, $30 for it, maybe 50. He'd take a shit. He'd go buy another one. You know, and I finally got so fed up. I bought him a brand new, nice fucking TV, and I think I spent like $400 or $500 on it. And I brought it over. I said, Dad, here's your new TV. Quit buying that fucking old used crap. You know. Well, those are a lot of money. No, they're not. You probably spent twice as much as I did on this new one on buying a used crap you buy every couple of weeks. You know? So fuck that shit, man. You know, you won't buy it for yourself. I'm buying it for you, you know. And that's what we used to do. You know, we'd take care of them that way. But, yes, taxes were temporary measure. Yeah, they're supposed to be. Tom says converted to gold would be the best, I think, now. Well, see, I got issues with that, too. My neighbor's got gold and silver, you know. And I says, well, you know, the problem with it is let's say the economy does collapse. Yes, gold and silver will retain its value, sort of. But how do you divvy up your gold coinage? You know. So if you got a gold coin that's, say, worth $6,000, you know, and you want to go buy $500 worth of food, how are you going to make change on that? You know. The barter system is the only thing that's going to work in an economical collapse, where you use goods to trade for other goods. And of course, remember, right before World War II, was right after, I don't remember which, I can't remember which president it was, he banned the ownership of gold except for your wedding band. You could not have any kind of gold bullion, gold coinage, or any kind of, you know, gold bar. It was illegal. Don't you think they'd do that again? And they confiscated everybody's gold for free and then jacked the price up of the gold after they got it all. Don't think for a minute they won't do it again. So that's why I won't fool with any of it. Yeah, well, they're talking. I was reading yesterday that they think gold's going to hit $6,000 an ounce, which is phenomenal, you know. But like I said, if you can't cash it in for something usable, what the hell good is it, you know? All right, Andy, have a good one, man. Thanks for popping in. Have a good weekend. Be safe. Have fun. We'll see you next week. So, you know, look, there's no solution for any of this shit. It's going to come down if the economy collapses, which is unlikely. But if it does, it'll be on the barter system. So, if you got an excess of food but need some ammo, and the other guy's got ammo but no food, all right, you know, I'll give you a steak for, you know, 100 bullets. And vice versa. So, I mean, that's what it's going to come down to, because look what happened in Venezuela. Their money went hyperinflation. Literal wheelbarrow of $100 bills, if they have such a thing. You couldn't even buy a loaf of bread with it. You know. The whole monetary system's bullshit anyway, you know. It's all rigged, all regulated, and the people in charge of it, they're going to take advantage of it, you know. I'll trade Scots for ammo. There you go. I got plenty of ammo, so, you know, I got no issue there. I mean, I wouldn't trade all of it, but I'd trade a small... And I got plenty of food, too, so I'm not really worried about it, In actuality, I wouldn't really need anything, you know. There's a couple of things I'd like to, like I said, I want to set my well up for solar power so I could power it, because I don't know. See, I don't understand a lot of. I wasn't around during the Great Depression. My dad, I don't think he remembers. I tried to ask him, well, how'd you guys survive in the Great Depression? I mean, I realized there wasn't very little food. You went to soup kitchens, but did you still have electric in your house? There was no money. You couldn't pay for it. Did they keep it on? You couldn't buy gas for your car because you didn't have any money. These things were so bad, if you saw a half-eaten candy bar laying in the gutter, you went and got it and ate it. And he wasn't kidding, because he said food was scarce. So I'm thinking, well, are they going to shut everything off? Obviously, they'll have to suspend property taxes because nobody's going to have it to pay. And if you try and take my house, well, there's going to be some gunplay. So, I mean, I don't know how they handled things back then. And the history books don't really cover it, Once the damn Muslims take over, you won't need your money anyway. That's true. All you're going to need then is a lot of ammo, right? And maybe some, Kevlar bulletproof clothing. Well, and that was played on purpose, John. The government was buying up all the 9. Because there was 45 and there was 38, 357, 22. Every round was available except for 9. That's why I never owned a 9, because, well, I think it's a worthless bullet. I'll stick with the 45, but and that's the problem. If everybody uses 9mm and the government wants to confiscate it all, which is basically what they did, they literally bought it all up. And your gun is useless without bullets. So, now you could reload your own. I've got a lot of my ammo is reloaded. I went out and bought a loader and gunpowder, casings, and the bullet itself, the lead. And I made my own bullets, and as long as you're careful doing it, that's not something you want to fuck around with, You want to make sure you're exact, because you can wind up fucking yourself up real bad if you overload or underload a bullet. So, but that's what I did. I did a lot of reloading. I did that for 2 years straight, Because even back in the day, ammo was still expensive, Now, the only thing I didn't reload was a 7.62 by 39 for the AKs. But I was buying those surplus from Russia, the Wolf ammo, and I was getting 1,000 rounds for, I think, right around $400, which wasn't terrible, And the only reason I didn't reload those is because you needed specialized equipment for the actual shell casing, because it narrows at the end, and that made it a pain in the ass. So I didn't want to fool with it. So my dad had a buddy who could reload 350. Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the way to go, And even now, it's still a good deal. We know prices went up a lot of the stuff. It's still way cheaper than buying it already made, James says, I serviced a machine that made lead shot over 200 foot in the air. That's cool. And they have molds where you can pour your own lead, or copper or whatever you want to use. So, if you needed the actual bullet, you can make those too. And you could go into, hardware store and buy fishing weights, melt down that lead, and there's your bullets, So there's a lot of ways you can do it, And like I said, there wasn't that much involved. I did use spent casings, put new primers in them, and mic'd them out, make sure they weren't distorted or anything, and reloaded them with new powder and a new bullet. The bullets I was buying brand new because they were dirt cheap, and I didn't have to fool with it. And they were plentiful, but like I said, when I went to the range, I'd save all my spent casings and any that were left behind, And a lot of them guys never picked up their brass, so it's like, well, I'll take it. you know. So, like I said, it was a good deal. I still have the machine. I got it mounted in my laundry room, and I still have gunpowder. I've got shell casings. I think I still got some actual bullets too. I've got primers. I've got the scales. I've got a booklet that, for measurements, that measure the powder and all that. I got everything I need to make more bullets. I think I got enough right now to make at least another 500 rounds of 45. And like I said, there's a place down in Naples that was selling that shit at decent prices. And of course, I paid cash for all of it, but I could either go down there and pay cash again or just have them, mail order it to me. And of course, be on the books then, but I don't care, For obvious reasons, I won't tell you how much I have, but let's just say it's a lot. A lot of brass. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They don't save the brass. I don't know why, They had a cool machine. It was on a handle and it was a roller, and you just rolled it on the ground and it would pick up the brass. And it's like, well, shit, that's cool. I was tempted to buy one, but between me and the wife, we just go bend over and pick it up. Back in the day, it was easier. So I haven't shot any of my guns in a few years, actually. Which is not a big deal. Because once before I did that, it was like 6 years between practice. And I said, yeah, we're going to go to the range. So I went to the range, and I was just as good as the last day I was at the range, So, I don't think you really have to practice all the time. If you're good at it to begin with, which I am, and it becomes, second nature or muscle memory, however they put it, you're always going to retain that, It's kind of like riding a bicycle. Once you ride, you never forget, So, but that's I think is going to be the biggest. That and food are going to be your biggest barter items, I don't think you're going to see too many people, well, I got a nice couch, I had a bed, I'll trade it for, a week's worth of food. And it's not likely to go very far, People are going to want necessities. They're going to want food, ammunition, weapons, things that they can actually utilize in a shit-hit-the-fan situation. But I honestly don't believe that's going to happen, It seems unlikely. And I'm not worried about the Chinese or the Muslims or anybody else invading America, because they're smart enough to realize we're all fucking heavily armed. They would not stand a prayer, And I think that's what's kept all of them from wanting to invade America anyway, or they'd have done it already. They know that they'll get their asses handed to them. We have the largest unorganized army on the planet. At least 110 million people that are armed, And most of us are much better marksmen than soldiers or cops. So, I used to fuck with the cops all the time, back in the day. I'd say, when you guys can learn how to shoot your guns? What do you mean? I says, every video I've seen of you defending yourself, you're shooting all over the place, It was a story, it's true. The state trooper, I think it was in Arkansas or someplace, many years ago. This trooper pulled over this pickup truck. He had a bad tag or something. And it was a white guy, but he was acting weird, the driver of the truck. So the trooper's standing behind him, with a light on him and shit. And he said, look, I need to see your license, insurance, all that, right? And guy says, oh, it's in my truck. Let me go get it, right? That was the first mistake, okay? So the guy goes in the truck. He pulls out a fucking gun, right? Well, the fucking trooper, he just freaks, man. He goes, put the gun down, put the gun down. You say it once, that's it. You ain't gonna hear that a second time. What you're gonna hear the second time is the flash and the bang. So he winds up. I swear he had to have his eyes closed. This was at night. There's a trooper, and you can see him from behind. You can't see him up front, but he's shooting all over the place. He never hits the guy. The guy takes one shot, kills the trooper. And I'm thinking, well, what the fuck? They were only probably 10, 12 foot apart. Point and shoot, man. He should have got the guy in the first shot. I would have. But I mean, he was literally shooting all over the place. And what the hell is he doing? Well, now he's dead, so I guess it doesn't matter, and that unfortunately happens more often than not. It's a problem, And these cops, man, I just don't understand, they don't get the training they need. And some of them shouldn't be cops. And there's a lot of good cops out there, but some of them really shouldn't be because they have no business picking up a gun. And I remember in New York a few years ago, they had some nutcase running around with was it a machete, I think? Some jackass, I'm going to kill everybody. They were 8 feet away from the guy. 2 cops unloaded 2 magazines each, 19 rounds in each mag. They only hit the guy twice, and they didn't kill him. They grazed, I think one hit him in the arm, one hit him in the leg. All right? 36 rounds, and only 2 hit the guy, and they were non-lethal. What the fuck were they thinking, And they were literally 6 or 8 foot apart from the guy. I couldn't miss that close. You can't do it. Oh, yeah, he panicked, but, there's no room for panic when you're in a firefight, man. You have to remain cool and use your training. That's what they're supposed to do. Well, I don't know what training they got, but, somebody should have, put some blanks in their gun and set up what looked like a realistic gunfight without their knowledge and see how they react, That would be the smart way to do it. Instead of, they shoot targets. They're not really moving targets, not really. That's not really good practice. I mean, it's a start, but they're more likely to need their guns than, say, you or I would. They should be so proficient at marksmanship it's not even funny, but yet they're not, I think a lot of them think they're Clint Eastwood, but most of them are really Barney Fife, Because before COVID, you could buy 1,000 rounds of 220. Yeah, I remember that. It was about $300. Yeah, I think the 7.62 was a little bit more than that, but the 7.62 is a heavier round. And like I said, they were Russian. It was mostly surplus. Some of that shit was 50, 60 years old, but still good. As long as you keep it dry, it'll work when you need it. John says, yeah, 29 cents per round was nice. You get 50 rounds of 22 for 99 cents. Well, I used to buy 22. I used to get 1,000 rounds for like $6, way back when. I built up the stock of 22 again because I have the 22 1911 clone, in 22 caliber. And I got the AR-15 in 22 caliber, It's not really an R, it's an AR look-alike, but it's in 22 caliber. And I figured, whether you're hunting varmint or you actually have to kill somebody, it will kill people, Not as effective as a 45, say, but It'll still kill you if you hit in the right place, or if you got enough rounds. So I think, like I said, I think I'm paying. Damn, I just bought 500 rounds of 22. I think I paid $30 for it. It wasn't cheap. But, you know, everybody said everything went up in price, so it is what it is. But, you know. And for a while, I was selling some of my ammo. The 45 especially, and I had guys that wanted it. And I'd sell it for a few dollars cheaper than what you'd buy in the store. And they were using it for practice anyway, but... And I thought, you know, I shouldn't be doing this. I should be hoarding it, you know. Because I didn't really need the money, you know. So... I would have been able to practice in my backyard over here, but since the guy bought the land next to it and behind me, that'd be too risky to fucking shoot now, you know, but when nobody was back there, I could have shot, you know, near the ground. Maybe even built up a little backstop or something, and nobody would have cared. They hunt back there, you know, all the time, so. My wife got so nervous the first time she heard them shooting back there. I said, as long as they're shooting that way, it's not a problem. If they shoot this way, well, first off, there's going to be return fire. You know, they'll knock that shit off in a heartbeat. But I don't think they're that dumb to do that because they know this is residence areas. And plus, you get arrested for that anyway, you know. So I never worried about stuff like that. I figured, you know, they're adults. They're out there hunting. You know, there's turkey back there. There's hogs. You might find a deer or two. I'm pretty sure them guys got the bear that we had a problem with. Because we haven't had a problem with the bear in 2 years. Knock wood, you know. And he is a big one. But you're allowed to legally kill them now, so. But I don't think they would have made a difference. They got a backhoe. You know. If you got a backhoe and a good rifle, the laws don't mean shit. You know, they're not going to go digging up the woods looking for a dead bear. Like I said, it's nice for me because I can legally shoot one now if it gets in my yard. But since the neighbor put up a fence pretty much around my perimeter, I don't think the bear's going to come over here, so. Unless, you know, he smells the chickens and he'll just break down the fence or climb it or whatever, and I'll have to shoot him anyway, but you know. It doesn't bother me to do that because, you know, that's, well, when you live in a rural area, you got to be ready to do that shit. So, yeah, I gotta send this back anyway. Let's open it a little bit, not a lot. I mean, it doesn't matter. They don't require the original package anyway. See if they even gave me the right color. Yeah, actually they did. You can see it or not. Only not too well. It's gray. I'll just have to get down to Winn-Dixie and turn it in. Look at bullshit. I finally got the clear spray paint too, which I'm going to be using for the static grass. And I might do that tomorrow. I'll have to pull everything off of there again, but it's just sitting there anyway. I didn't glue anything down yet. And I'm getting rather excited working in here, actually. I'm having fun. So. Ooh. So anyway, Hey, you guys check out Tom Grassie's 7-Eleven sign? I thought he did a nice job on it. He said he was not real crazy happy about it, but I looked at it, I thought it was pretty good. So, like I said, I'm going to have to make some signage myself. Some of it anyway. Some of them I might buy if it's already made, but then again, too, so you probably heard if you watch his show that some of his Miller signs that he had, they failed on him. And they're not badly priced. They're like $30 for each sign thereabouts. But if I could build them, I'd just soon build them, myself. I could, even the electronics I could do if I need to. It's actually relatively easy to make what do they call it, alternating flashing board, whatever. So you get one light lights up, then the other one does, and back to the other one, alternating lights. So I'm kind of looking forward to doing that sometime. I don't know when. I keep saying it, but once I get that finished back there, I think I'm going to go ahead and build hopefully the tip out for the helix, and then start working on the helix. Yeah, it's raining outside. Can you believe that? Not surprising. Like it rains all the time. But I want to get that helix put together and, join the two levels together. Like I said, I've got the bus line in and all that. I've got to hook it into the rest of the lower bus line, and I've also got a 12-volt bus line in there too, which I'm thinking I might. Oh, what's that? Tom says Jim Miller Engineering has kits that helps you make you. Oh, no kidding! I'll check that out. Yeah, that would be cool too, and I wouldn't mind having a few, light up billboards. I mean, I got places where I can put them. I just got plain do nothing billboards now, but it'd be kind of cool to have them that light up, And like I said, I would utilize the 12-volt bus line that's underneath the second level to power probably anything else I want to put in there electrically. Because I should have put a 12-volt bus line on the lower level. I never did. But like back there, I've got that shack for the boat ramp. Or boat house, whatever you want to call it. There's a light. I did put a light in there. So I could run the wire up through the back where there's an opening, behind the tunnel, and tie it in a 12-volt bus line. It should be a hell of a lot easier than trying to do it underneath. Because all my outlets, I believe, are taken up under there. Like I said, I put outlets all over the place, but you fill them up fast when you got a shitload of wall warts. And like I said, if you have a 12-volt bus line, you don't need those wall warts, So, John says, I can't wait until I retire so I have time to do the things I want to do rather than things I'm required. Yeah, I hear that. And I said, retirement's cool. If A, you have a hobby, and B, you have some money for the hobby. If you don't have either one, well, retirement's going to suck. Because you don't want to just sit in front of the TV for the rest of your life, because your life will be short, It's important to stay busy, keep your mind active, and do things. And let's face it, model railroading is an excellent hobby. I think that really pushes all of us to do the best we can with what we know. So we'll see. Tom says I have STL files for billboards. One day I may print them. There you go. Tom says my retirement I am busy every day. I know you are, Tom. But you make good money too. I mean, you're set. We're not all that lucky, unfortunately. Even my wife says, "How much fucking money does he have anyway?" I said, "Well, he's got a lot more than I do, He's basically got Social Security. You got some sort of a pension, don't you? and your Social Security pays you tons of money because you made good money all your life. So you're set. You know, you can go out and you can buy stuff all the time and not worry about it. Me, I don't have that luxury anymore, but even without it, it's not a big deal. Like I said, it forces me to not buy a lot of things and sometimes have to make them instead. And I'm okay with that. It's not a big deal, you know. But that's the trick to retirement, is stay busy. A lot of guys, that's what I'm saying, a lot of these rich people, they don't really have hobbies, you know. A lot of them will play golf, but like you just wreck your back doing that shit, you know. But they sit around, they don't do anything, you know. And their bodies just say, you know what, we're done here, we're going. And they drop dead. So, you know, they say the worst thing to do when you retire, is it the Bundy Law of Retirement or something like that? Remember Married with Children? If you get used to doing something and you change it, you will die. You know, it's like if you eat lots of junk food all your life, and then when you're 65 or 70 or whatever, then I'm not going to eat junk food anymore. I'm going to eat good food. And you'll fucking die because your body is already acclimated to the junk food. You know, it's too late to change. Tom says, I have an investment account. I just collect the interest on it. Oh, that's what I said. You're set. And that's cool, you know. I'm happy for you. But a lot of us don't have that luxury, so we have to make do. But it is what it is. You know, I smoked. I started smoking cigarettes when I was 15 years old. I quit when I was 57 or 58, I don't remember now. I quit because I couldn't afford them anymore. It was ridiculous spending too much money on them. But one of the things that really prevented me from quitting earlier was I'd been doing it for so long, I figured if I stopped, I would die. You know? Because your body does acclimate to whatever you do to it. And you should never abruptly change anything. So. John says, that's the way to do it, Tom. Absolutely. Lloyd says, it's best to buy all the stuff that you want while you're working, because once you're on a fixed income, you may not have the money. And that's true, too. And I did some of that as well, you know. I've been amassing things for many years. And not so much train related, but tools and stuff like that I figured I'd need, you know. And I kept it all. And then I figured at some point I'm going to need these things, and I did, you know. So yeah, that makes sense. I mean, especially if you know what your hobby is going to be, to pre-buy. Well, I guess Russ is doing that to some degree. You know, he's buying a lot of stuff. And, you know, someday he'll get a layout put up, but we don't know when. Sorry, Russ. I'm not ragging on you, just pointing out a couple of facts, but, you know, it's just, yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that, you know. While you got the money, buy what you need. Now, when you get everything and you're ready to, you know, get started, then you can do it. Because you never know. Like you said, you may, you know, if you're on a fixed income, you may not be able to, you know. Now, my fortunate is, you know, my house is paid for, you know. When my dad quit claiming me his house, it was paid for, you know, because I would have got it in the will either way, but he made sure I got it before he went in a nursing home, so he quit claiming it to me, and it was already paid for, so I had no mortgage. I was renting out the back half, so I had an income coming there, plus my disability income. So I was actually doing fairly well, you know. Then when I sold it and bought this place, paid cash for it, and I rent out the guest house, so I have an extra income coming along with my measly Social Security. I'm not doing terrible, but I have to, you know, I have to monitor what I spend. It will be cheaper now than, that's true too, you know. As I said, when I was still in Naples, I was buying a lot of stuff that I couldn't use, like locomotives and stuff, you know. I think I had something like 15, 18 locomotives I bought brand new. The MTH, the scale trains. One I got deals on, they were all new. Even though I really couldn't use some of them because I was running mostly 18 and 22 degree curves on them. So, you know, a lot of stuff. They said it would run, but it didn't really run that well on them. But I bought the stuff anyway, you know. Like that, like my steam engine. You know, that's the, I can't remember the name of it now, but I bought that down there. I couldn't run it, but I wanted one. I knew that, you know, at some point I was going to sell that place and move up here. So I went ahead and bought one because I got a deal on it, you know. And I did do that with quite a few things. You know, as I said, it was after I retired, forced to retire, but still, I had some money and I went ahead and invested in stuff because I knew that it's like track. I bought a shitload of track down there that I brought up with me. It was all brand new. I was getting it, you know, really cheap. Now, if I had to buy track today, it would be almost double what I paid for what I got. You know, that's crazy, man. So, you know, like I said, if you know you're going to do this, absolutely start buying now if you're not retired yet. Well, whatever you got to do, just do it, you know. And I still think that this is probably the greatest hobby in the world, you know. I said I was a car guy before I got into this, but, you know, because like I said, I used to be able to put together a race engine for around $1,200–1,400. You add another zero on that, you might come close to what you need. You know, $12,000, $14,000, $50,000 to build a racing motor, you know, which is nuts. So I don't have the money for that, obviously, plus I don't have the physical ability to do it anymore, not really. So I basically went from custom car guy to model railroader. And it was a good transition the way I figure it. I wanted to build one more car before I died, but not going to happen, you know. I wanted to build one from scratch, you know, frame up. I got plans for it. Won't happen because A, I don't have the money. B, I don't have the physical ability to actually do it. It kind of sucks because it would have been cool. But, you know, so, but this I can do, so that's cool. Like I said, you never know what life's going to throw at you, unfortunately. I want to say thank you for all you guys who watched my Wise Guy video that I put on YouTube the other day. Actually got some decent hits on it. Not like in the thousands or anything, or even in the hundreds, but a few people saw it. Plus, I always run it on Rumble anyway, and I have over 100 people that see it on Rumble. And I didn't know what would happen if I put that on YouTube because, you know, I used a couple of keywords you're not supposed to use on YouTube. So, like I said, if they shadow ban me, go ahead. I don't care. Yeah. It's still up and running, so the way it goes. And I might do more of that, but I just got to be more careful, especially with my language. But because I don't hold back on Rumble, and they don't give a shit, you know. So anyway, so I think that's probably going to wrap it up for today. I don't know what else to talk about. We covered all the things we needed to. Like I said, next week I'll have more videos to show. There'll be more work getting done down there. Might even be able to come close to finishing it. I don't know. You know. They said there, unfortunately, you know, there's, I have other things in life to deal with too, so I can't always get over here and do what I want to do. But when I can, I do, and that's the best I can do. So I just got to stay on this whole. The program is pick an area, finish it, then move to the next area. Before I was kind of jumping around all over the place, you know. Like, oh, I need to do that. Oh, no, I need to do that over there. And I wasn't getting nothing done. So now I'm going to concentrate on each area I want to do. Start it, finish it, update it, whatever needs to be done before I move on to the next area. So that's my plan anyway. And I think that about covers it, I think. Yeah, that ought to do it. Anyway, thanks for hanging out with me tonight. Really appreciate it. This will be a little shorter than usual. Last week we went to 10:15, man. Came over. Holy shit, it's almost time to go to bed, you know. Well, not really, but close. So I'm going to end it a little earlier today. And once again, thanks for hanging out with me. I hope you enjoy what I'm showing. Everybody have a good weekend. Be safe. Play with your trains. If you got them, you know. And we'll see you next week. And don't forget to tune in to James' show on Monday at 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock. Wednesday on Tom Grassie's show at 8 o'clock. And I think that's the only two I know about right now. So check it out. Alright guys, have a good one. I'm going to run the outro and we'll see you again next week. Same time, same place. Bye for now.